Hey, this is Christian. Today I wanted to shoot this video for those who are currently going for their first interview. And the reason why I'm shooting this video is because some of my students right now are going through that phase. And I want to give you some warnings and to set some expectations for you, just so you don't get disappointed. So I want to start with the fact that all my students that are going for the job right now, that are going to get for their first role, they are really good. So I never let people go for a job if they don't have the skills, if I would not hire them myself, right? So that's my standard. But for some reason, whenever, and it happens with all of them, it's funny for me and sad at the same time, because they always do the same mistake. They are always freaking out. It doesn't matter how good they are, it doesn't matter how well prepared they are. For some reason, when you have your first code test, you freeze, you panic, you stress out, and then you forget everything you know. It doesn't matter how good you are, but you'll forget everything. At least this is what I've seen so far, 100% of the times. So, with that being said, I would suggest to you to just go for the first interview with no expectations, literally. You shouldn't care if you take it, and you shouldn't care if you lose it either, right? And I know this advice will go through this year and then it will come out through this year, because I've told them exactly the same thing. Hey, don't care. The more you care about it, the worse you'll do in the interview. So this is the first thing. You will probably bomb it, right? And even if you are acting really good in the interview, the chances of you passing that first interview are small as well, right? That's the first thing. Then I want you to understand that if you go in with the mindset that I might lose it, and I've touched a bit on this previously, but if you go in with the mindset that you need it, you will lose it, okay? And this goes again to like dating, right? For some reason, the job search and dating, they are very similar in my experience. When you have a job, right, you are like being married or being in a relationship with someone. So getting that job, it's like going on a date or on a few dates in the tech industry, right? There might be 3, 4, 5 interviews until you get the job, right? Until you get the relationship or whatever. If you are a front-end developer or a web developer in general, the likelihood of you getting hired and working for a startup are very high. So I'm gonna give you some tips on how to approach that interview. Now, I want you to forget for a second that you are a developer, and I want you to think that you are the friend of the CEO. For that guy or girl, that startup is very likely everything they have going on right now for a few months, maybe a few years, and that's the only thing they are thinking about, all right? Probably that startup is worth for that person more than their family. And it sounds weird and crazy, but it's true. They have a lot of energy put in there. Maybe they have time put in. I mean, they do have time. They have a lot of money put in there, their own money, maybe money that they borrowed from friends, from family, from investors, right? So they are so invested in that company, and for them that company means everything, okay? So now, with this mindset, knowing that this company is worth everything for that person, for that CEO or whatever, if you go in the interview and you are being curious and inquisitive, you'll make a very high dent in the probability of you getting that job, right? You might not even care about that company, but you need to care enough to ask different kind of questions to that founder of that startup, for example. You need to know what is that product about. Like, literally try to find out as a customer, what would that product do for you, okay? That's one thing. Then, do they have any competitors? How big is the market? Do they have founding? How many founders do they have? How many rounds of founding they have so far? Do they plan to get more money in? You need to ask these kind of questions like you are a friend, like you're a business partner, like you're a client, because this will make that person trust you, okay? And when it comes to working for a startup, trust is probably more important than skills, right? Because this startup might be like a 3, 4, 5 people startup, and your ability to communicate and to be a friend with them means a lot, right? The startup might succeed because of you, and the startup might fail because of you, okay? So it's gonna be a big risk to take someone on board. It might take 3 months to train you, and then they'll realize you are crappy, right? And then they'll have to fire you and find someone else, and they'll waste another 3, 4, 5, 6 months to find someone else. Time where they are losing money, they're not delivering features, and so on and so forth. So you need to be technically sound. You need to be technically sound as a developer, but you also have to be someone that's interested in the product, or at least interested in the person, or willing to be interested in the product. I mean, this is gonna be your first job, right? So this thing means a lot. This thing means a lot. And you need to be curious and inquisitive, okay? Curious and inquisitive, 2 things. I have gotten so many interviews even at this stage. I've got so many jobs just because I was curious and inquisitive, okay? People are working with people, not with machines, right? So your skills are important, yes, but your ability to be understood as a person and your ability to understand other people is also important. And yeah, I guess this is my rant. You know, I wanted to share with you these ideas about your first interview. Probably I was everywhere a bit, like always, but I felt like I have to tell you this. Maybe it's gonna help you. So don't care about your first code test. You'll forget everything, most likely, because of the stress levels. And then when you talk to a founder, be curious and be inquisitive. As always, if you want to work with me, there is a link in the description of this video. Click it, read what's on that website, apply for a free consultation call, and yeah, I wish you good luck with your first code test. Cheers.